Hello, Libra. This is your weekly reading for February 24th through March 1st. I am Art Kozak. This is Art Kozak Tarot. And for my fellow Libras, I can tell you that this week you might be a little stressed out. I'm just going to warn you there. Now, the stress in and of itself is not anything threatening per se, but you may just find yourself experiencing a little bit of anxiety throughout the week. Try to manage that. This is symbolized in the cards by the Nine of Wands. And what I like to say quite often with the Nine of Wands to remind people is the Nine of Wands represents a situation in which anxiety itself has become the problem. The problem is not what you're anxious about. Okay, the anxiety itself is the problem. And so try to take a breath whenever you can take a breath and understand that things are not that bad. You may, and in fact, I think maybe part of this anxiety that you're experiencing is your desire to move away from stress. You may not feel like that desire is being fulfilled immediately, especially in the beginning of the week. Now, ultimately, it will be, and that's the good news. You will find a kind of break. The fever of your anxiety is going to break by the end of this week. But in the beginning, especially the first few days, those of you who are working a regular work week, Monday through Friday, you're going to find yourself plodding along for those first few days, Monday, Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday, Thursday. You're going to have your nose to the grindstone, and it's just going to be one of those really hard-working work weeks. But by the end of the week, later on at the end of the week, I see this bringing you to a point of greater mental clarity and to a point of greater mental mastery, mastery over your rationality. You're going to be feeling like you've matured a little bit this week, and you're going to be, especially when it comes to, again, rationality. Those of you, and these readings that I do, they can be applied to what I'm telling you. Hopefully, what I'm telling you about is the major storyline of most concern for you right now, and that can have to do with love, that can have to do with money, that can have to do with your living situation more in general. But those of you who may be experiencing issues around romance, issues around a potential connection that you thought you had, or a potential connection that you did have, I want to speak specifically to that because there's a lot of clear indicators in the cards when it comes to romance. If that is the case for you, there was a point in which you were kind of playing a back and forth game with someone. You were balanced. You were balancing one another. It's kind of like two people on one of those seesaw things that we got on when we were kids that would balance each other out. There was some kind of a balancing act that you had to go through with this other person, but then that turned into kind of a battle. That turned into a win-loss battle. For whatever reason, that just kind of turned into something where, okay, well, we got to get off the seesaw one way or the other eventually. And that might have involved a little winning for you, and that might have involved a little losing for you. Probably a little of both. But what I can see coming up in the future, and you're going to be applying yourself to work, most all of you, for the beginning of the week. But later on in the week, specifically speaking in terms of romance, this greater mental clarity, this greater command you have over your rational faculties, your ability to think through problems, your trust in your own ability to think through things and to think quickly. This is also going to connect. This is going to open up your heart, because you're not going to have to be thinking with your heart quite so much. You can think with your head, so then you can feel with your heart. And I see the potential for a connection, for a more genuine love connection with someone who is a little bit more comfortable for you, who is going to be, now this may be the same person, this may be coming back around, but this may also be somebody new who is kind of a match for you in that this person is also very practical, but also a lot more earthy. You know, a little bit more practical, not in the sense of their head, but in the sense of physical being. And there's a potential connection coming up for you romantically at the end of the week, and I think I could say that for pretty much everybody out there. If you're not, if you are in the market for a potential connection. Now, I would like to speak specifically with regards to your conclusion, the overall conclusion for you this week. As I said, there's going to be some, the fever is going to kind of break, your anxiety is going to break and just kind of go. That may have to do with some celebrating you're going to do. That may have to do with some kind of hard celebrating that you're going to do. Maybe have a drink or two or three or five. If that's your thing, do so responsibly if that's your thing. But you may have the potential, the opportunity to cut loose, to really cut loose by the end of this week, and let yourself, allow yourself to hope again, allow yourself to be optimistic again. This is something you're fated to do. You are fated at this point to go ahead and see the bright road in front of you. Okay? That's what the cards are telling me. That's what I really see here. You feel like your life, you want to move away from stress. You feel like your life is at a stalemate. If this is specifically a romantic situation I'm talking about, you may have felt that this that you've had a connection, or you had a connection with somebody that kind of just went sideways and has been stuck for who knows how long, or is in a state of being stuck. But whether that's a part of it or not, you are, again, fated at this point to just go ahead and cut loose a little bit. Again, be responsible, but also regain your sense of hope. Regain your sense of not just seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but seeing the bright green pastures and the chirping birds and the unicorns and the rainbows at the end of the tunnel too. So I look forward to hearing your comments. Please comment, please like, please subscribe. For those of you who would like to subscribe to our Patreon, there's a link to our Patreon page in the description below. Patreon subscribers receive specific readings for love and money at least once a month, and the love readings are separated between those who are single and those who are in committed relationships. So either one, the other, or both should provide something for everyone along those lines. Once again, I am Art Kozak, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the future.